A relationship with the right referral partner could be a game changer for any B2B company. So what if you could reverse engineer these relationships at a moment's notice? Start a podcast, invite potential referral partners to be guests on your show, and grow your referral network faster than ever. Learn more at sweetfishmedia.com.
You're listening to B2B Growth, a daily podcast for B2B leaders. We've interviewed names you've probably heard before, like Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek, but you've probably never heard from the majority of our guests. That's because the bulk of our interviews aren't with professional speakers and authors. Most of our guests are in the trenches leading sales and marketing teams. They're implementing strategy. They're experimenting with tactics. They're building the fastest growing B2B companies in the world. My name is James Carberry. I'm the founder of Sweetfish Media, a podcast agency for B2B brands, and I'm also one of the co-hosts of this show. When we're not interviewing sales and marketing leaders, you'll hear stories from behind the scenes of our own business. We'll share the ups and downs of our journey as we attempt to take over the world. Just kidding. Well, maybe. Let's get into the show.
Welcome back to the B2B Growth Show. I'm your host for today's episode, Sean Blackburn with Sweetfish Media, joined today by Nathan Labenz. He is the CEO over at Waymark. Nathan, how are you doing today?
Great, Sean. Thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Excited to have you. Today, our topic is how premium video templates allow marketers to create video at scale. But before we begin, if you could just tell our listeners a little bit about you and your background and what it is that you guys over at Waymark are up to these days.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you for the opportunity. So Waymark, which is online at waymark.com, is a video creation platform, and it's really designed for anybody and everybody to use. Our background, my background as an entrepreneur, is in the small business space. So we've really focused on developing a product that is super easy to use, super intuitive. I always like to say I want to make something that my dad can use with his bifocals on his iPhone 5. And, I figure if he can do it under those conditions, then anybody and everybody will be able to do it. So we've created something that essentially when you land at the site looks like a store, just like any other e-commerce experience that you've ever had. But the big difference is that instead of selling physical goods, we are selling customizable videos. So what you see first is a bunch of templates. We like to describe it as a watch-first experience. You kind of browse around the site and find things that inspire you. And then once you've done that, it's really easy to customize those templates with your own content and then purchase from us a commercial license to use that in your business for any number of a variety of purposes.
I love that. And so how did you come up with this idea?
Well, like I said, we've been in the small business space for quite some time. We've had a couple different generations of the product. The last one was a display ad product. And before that was kind of a user-generated content product focusing on customer reviews and testimonials. So we've always been focused on helping small businesses activate the resources that they have, whether that be, originally the latent testimonials and reviews that their customers had in their minds about the business, but often had not written down anywhere yet. And then that kind of progressed into advertising, starting with display and now with video. But we've always really focused on kind of being super efficient with people's time, trying to kind of maximize value per minute, value per click, and also reusing a lot of things that are out there. A lot of businesses have, a footprint in today's world, a Facebook page, a website. They have images, they have, again, customer reviews that are out there about them. But bringing that all together into a cohesive package that tells a story is not something that has been historically easy for them to do. So one of the features that we get the most positive feedback on Waymark.com is you can go into a template and then click a button that says add a business. And what that will allow you to do is search for your business, even if it's just like a small, local business, as long as you have kind of a Facebook page or, something where we can find you online. The technology will go out and find the business itself and then kind of crawl around its online footprint to bring in those photos, customer reviews, business information, what kind of business it is, a map potentially, and weave all that together into the template to tell a story. So that has been a really kind of effective product approach, and we've kind of done that in a number of different moments over time.
We hear all the time in the B2B world the importance of moving all of our text-based, storytelling, like you're mentioning, to either video or audio. What's the importance that you see for our audience, B2B marketers and salespeople, to really start incorporating video into their sales process in a more meaningful way?
Yeah, I think it's really key for everyone. We ourselves are a B2B business. We serve a clientele of small businesses as well as larger brands, and we're also working on some partnerships with video advertising platforms. So, the social media companies, but also cable companies and kind of more traditional media companies as well. And our customers, in turn, most of them are B2C, but a decent number are B2B. We kind of see across the board that video is the most effective way to engage people at the top of the funnel. And it certainly has additional uses as you go down the funnel. But just starting at the very top of the funnel, when you test a video against some other format of creative, typically you'll see just about every metric improve, including metrics that are less often measured, and such as kind of how much do people recall about the business? Can they say what this business is about or what it does, right?
Interesting.
That is maybe a metric that's not often captured in a click, or it isn't fully captured in the click. Right. But is super helpful for just kind of establishing, what this is and giving people a chance to kind of qualify into your funnel or not. And then as you go downstream, of course, we certainly see people doing all kinds of different things with videos. They'll be using them on landing pages for kind of additional communication opportunities. We see people using some of our templates as kind of the background of their website, in that format where it's like almost a parallax sort of look where there's a video running in the background of the content. It's been a creative use that we did not expect, but we've seen people do that. We see people kind of use short videos almost like a substitute for an email newsletter, because there's so many newsletters out there today, but maybe a 30-second video is a more effective way to kind of make that contact with your customer list that you want to make. We see kind of follow-up to sales meetings, quick videos, either thanking people for taking the meeting or kind of recapping the key points in the meeting. All of that sort of stuff has really been exciting for us to see, because we originally kind of built this thing, not knowing exactly what people would do with it and how many different stories they'd be able to tell with the creative library that we put together. But we've been really energized to see just how many different use cases people are coming up with.
I think that's fantastic. And we all know the importance, or are hearing more of, like you said, the importance of creating video and doing so consistently. But there are a lot of challenges that come with that, especially from a production standpoint. What are some of the common things that you see businesses bumping up against that resistance cause them to not take that step to get into video production like we're talking about?
Sure. Well, a huge barrier, of course, is just time and energy, which together is the cost of producing something. That is a huge barrier. And I think that barrier is kind of getting worse. If you go out and look at what does it cost to get a local production company or a specialist agency to come in and produce a video for you, the costs are going up, right? The demand for that service is up, and people are getting more selective about what jobs they'll take on. So the cost is kind of running away from small businesses in a lot of cases. I think also we see a lot of people produce the wrong thing. I can't tell you how many times I've been to the about page of a business and seen like a 2.5 minute, everything you might want to know about us sort of video, which then finds its way to the about page because that's kind of the only place where it makes a lot of sense.
Right.
So I think that people are not, I see this happen, with a number of different kind of decision-making processes in small businesses in particular, but video is certainly one of them, where because the cost is high, then people sort of think, geez, I got to make this like my magnum opus, so it's got to have everything. And this, this used to happen with websites all the time too, right? You're going to get a custom website. You're only going to do this once. You got to really invest in it and make it great. And before you know it, you're kind of biting off more than you can chew. And now you've got a 2.5 minute video that, doesn't really work as a top of funnel advertisement, certainly. And in general, just people don't really have 2.5 minutes, to give to your small business. So I think that the price is a huge barrier. And then because the price is a barrier, people are sort of get a little bit wide-eyed oftentimes and kind of maybe try to do a little bit too much. What we would, on the flip side, recommend, and certainly, this is kind of a self-serving statement given our product, but using something that's lightweight but still high quality. And quality is super important. I mean, that's another point I should really make. If you kind of do an original production, but do it on the cheap, like you can go on Fiverr, and get something done, then it just doesn't reflect very well on your business. And,
right.
People are so used to good content and what good content looks like, feels like, sounds like, that they can diagnose bad content or just low quality production in a second. I mean, literally, it does not take long at all for people to sort of be turned off by something that just does not look good or feel like it's up to the bar that they're used to. So what we're trying to do with our product is kind of help people square all those competing priorities into something that will actually work by making it cheap, easy to get access to, still super high quality, easy to customize for your business. But you don't have to go through all that work of kind of doing an original production.
What are some of the solutions that you have found that you guys offer at Waymark for these common issues that people are coming up against?
Yeah, well, I mean, on the site, there are a ton of different collections of different templates for different kinds of businesses and for different use cases. So we've, again, tried to make it kind of feel like any sort of e-commerce experience. You go to a clothing website, you're going to go to the men's section or the women's section or, whatever you need. So
Sure.
For us, we've organized it by different kinds of business, from auto to real estate, beauty, fitness, retail, et cetera, and then also by the different ways that you might want to use your video. So maybe it's Facebook or Instagram advertising, maybe it's YouTube, maybe it's LinkedIn, maybe it's, to put something on your website, a whole bunch of different, kind of categories that you can browse around. We are also starting to get interest from brands, and especially brands that have a distributed presence, whether that's like local agent networks or dealer networks or franchisees or, just local retail locations around the country, who are kind of saying, we need something like this to empower our people. So to take an example, we're a Detroit-based company. We're doing some work right now with one of the big three automakers that's based in Detroit. And you can't see this on the website because this is kind of, siloed off into a private space for them. But they kind of said to us, look, we put so much money, so much energy and effort into building our brand nationally. And then we have all these dealers, thousands of dealers are all around the country in all kinds of different local markets. And they're the ones that actually sell the cars, right? And we win and lose business at the dealership level every single day.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
We'd really love to help them get the best of this video marketing. And everybody's seen car dealer commercials. They're almost kind of, iconic in that they're often terrible. And sometimes they're so terrible that they might be kind of kitschy great.
Right.
But even then, they have the same problems of it's hard to produce, and, they can sometimes try to bite off more than they can chew conceptually. So what the brand is kind of saying to us, and we're starting to hear this from more brands as well, is just, can we have a private collection of videos that are on brand for us that maybe take advantage of the work that we've already done nationally in terms of, making really top-notch creative, but then make that customizable at the local level so that people can do exactly what they need to do in their local market. Because every dealer has a different, special that they might be running, or they're sponsoring a local T-ball team that they want to tell people about, or they want to highlight the, salesperson or employee of the month, or they want to show off their, service center reviews. There's all these kind of different things, but they're all very, very local. So how to kind of bring the national quality creative and the on-brand content that already exists to the dealers in a friendly way, that's kind of where the frontier of our business is. And I think there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there, because that pain we're learning is not just the pain that small businesses feel, but it's a pain that a lot of brands are really feeling as well.
I think that's fantastic. And I could think of so many other use cases as well, but just off the top of my head, for B2B marketers or salespeople to, be talking to multiple different personas, or even, we could even say demographics when it comes to location. Do you have any examples of something of that nature?
Yeah, well, I mean, we do that, that's kind of part and parcel of how we go to market with our video. We essentially dog food our product, right? We take the templates that we have and we make versions of them for ourselves. We also sometimes kind of embed those in videos that show how easy it is to make a template on our site. But then we'll segment that by category, for example. So, we'll have specific video content that speaks to, for example, auto dealers, and that will bring people to the auto collection on the site. And then we can go do the same thing again for real estate, right? And, people have different needs, of course, and different seasonality to the business and different kind of moments in time, different, things that come up often in the case of a real estate agent. It's often like I have a listing and I need to show that listing off, right? And I want to do it quickly, easily, affordably, because like I'm getting a fixed dollar commission, for selling this house. If I can spend less to make a quality video to promote it, then the savings, like, it drops directly to my bottom line as the agent. But I do need to like sell this house, and I need to also impress the client and make sure that they're, feeling like I'm doing everything I can to move this house. So, just speaking to different people in slightly different ways and understanding what their likely use cases for our product is, it's pretty meta, I guess, to describe it this way, but we do exactly what you're describing as we take our product to market and reach the incredible diversity of small businesses that are out there. And our customer base is super diverse, so that is a really important aspect of what we do. Another application that we're seeing is with advertising platforms, for example, cable companies. There's a huge push in kind of legacy media companies, many of which are still, very rich and very successful, to scale out their advertiser base to compete with what Facebook has done. Facebook now has like I think their most recent public number was 6 million active advertisers on a quarterly basis. If you look at like a Comcast, they have maybe 35, 40,000. So it's orders of magnitude difference. And they're saying, boy, we still got premium content. We still got tons of eyeballs. How do we activate our advertiser base to kind of catch up to what Facebook has done? And, it's not really a huge secret what has made Facebook so successful. They've made it super easy. You can go to their website and buy with a credit card. They have tools to help you make an ad. So even if you don't know what you're doing, you've never made an ad before, you can figure it out on your own, and millions of people have done that. Right. So the cable companies are kind of saying, we got to do the same thing, right? We need to make a website where people can go and buy cable TV advertising for their business and kind of take care of it all, with a credit card online, just in the same way that they've been able to do that on Facebook. So we're working with a couple of those companies to try to figure out what that ultimately looks like. And a huge barrier is the creative piece, right? Because they can usually, for the most part, they can handle the scheduling and kind of figuring out what channels a business should be on, and working through the kind of logistical details of executing the campaign, running the spot. But often the biggest barrier is, well, geez, I've never done TV before. I don't have a commercial, and so how am I going to get this thing produced, right? So you're kind of back to the beginning. So we're working on kind of integrating our product into some of these self-serve websites, most of which haven't even really been launched yet. But are kind of in the works behind the scenes. And the goal will be, hopefully sometime in 2019, to create the experience where you can get a Waymark commercial in the course of purchasing a cable TV ad for your business.
Absolutely. Man, this is really cool stuff. If somebody wanted to connect with you or obviously see the site, what would be the best way for them to do that?
Well, the site itself is, I think, the best place to just understand the product. We have taken a very sort of customer-friendly approach to building it. So everything is usable and publicly available. You don't even really have to create an account. You certainly don't have to pay us or sign up for anything. You can go explore videos and customize them and import your business content and do all that kind of stuff before we'll ask you for $1. So I would definitely encourage people just to check that out. If anybody wants to connect with me, my email is nathan@waymark.com as well. So I would welcome any inquiries too.
Nathan, this has been a really interesting topic, and I appreciate you sharing your perspective on, how to use premium video templates to create video at scale. And thanks again for being on the show.
Absolutely, Sean. It's been a pleasure.
We totally get it. We publish a ton of content on this podcast, and it can be a lot to keep up with. That's why we've started the B2B Growth Big 3. A no-fluff email that boils down our 3 biggest takeaways from an entire week of episodes. Sign up today at sweetfishmedia.com/big3. That's sweetfishmedia.com/big3.